I fucking bought a game on accident. Okay.
Always use protection. Real protection. Not like the pull-out method.
Ew. Look, you don't gotta worry about none of that. Me and my shit is locked in.
I've always left my Isha for you.
Okay, whatever.
And don't be acting all starstruck when you see famous people. They just like us, okay? Don't try to flex. Keep your chain tucked in.
Not even me.
And if you get into anything crazy, call me before you call Mom. We can figure it out together.
Appreciate that.
I love you.
Hey! What's that for? Casey!
Don't buy drugs from strangers.
Oh, I know.
Percussion tubes.
What are you looking for, Spencer? Hmm?
Steel pan. Xylophone. Percussion tubes. Glockenspiel. Steel pan.
Spencer, what are you looking for?
Xylophone. Percussion tubes.
Oh, we in there. We in there. Streaming everywhere. Alright, what we got? Anthony Ramirez, what's up? Nova Create, how you doing? Grizzle Bear Gaming. My bad, I did not see. Twitter. Spencer, chill out.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Jessica Clemens, and as we wrap up the first season of Ironheart, we open another door to Desperados Pizza and discuss the future of magic in the MCU. And girl, you're in danger.
I'm gonna be real, I'm like, girl, I'm scared for you.
There are so many conclusions and theories after the finale of Ironheart, whether it involves following Zelma Stanton into Strange Academy, understanding the limitations of magic within the MCU, or just exploring how Parker Robbins will even continue within the MCU. I had the great fortune of interviewing Reagan Aaliyah, who plays Zelma Stanton, our post-credit queen, our supreme-like witch, and a magical prodigy, if you will. We discussed the future of the MCU, her role as Zelma Stanton, and the limitations of magic in this universe, and the price everyone has to pay when performing magic, because it always comes at a cost. But before we get into the interview or the video, be sure to check out nerdride.shop, where you can always find the latest and greatest in New Rockstars merch. You already saw Jurassic World Rebirth. We still got merch for Jurassic World Rebirth. Go check it out over there. Or, you can get the Superman shirt, because Superman is right around the corner. It's right around the corner. It's right around the corner. You guys, Superman is here. Also, next week, or the week after that, we got Fantastic Four. Get the merch ready for the movies. You gotta go to the theater, wear the merch, and then people go, oh my god, where'd you get that? And then you can tell them nerdride.shop. There you go. Okay, so the finale of Ironheart included a post-credits scene featuring Zelma Stanton, who appears to be assisting Parker Robbins, aka the Hood. Given Robbins' need for supreme-like magic, there's a possibility that we may be introducing a Sorcerer Supreme. This could be either our current Sorcerer Supreme or Doctor Strange, our former Sorcerer Supreme. Alternatively, we might be attempting to retrieve Parker's soul back from Mephisto. All in all, this requires assistance from Zelma Stanton, who we learn quickly in the show is very magically proficient, self-taught, and soaks up knowledge like a sponge to every bit of natural and otherworldly resources. Zelma Stanton is played by the wonderful Reagan Aaliyah, whom you may recognize from XO Kitty. Reagan took time out of her busy schedule, currently in Korea shooting XO Kitty, to talk with me, and I learned three things instantly. One, she's a very big nerd for Marvel. She went from a fan to canon, which honestly we all kind of want. Having gone to the midnight releases with her mother, who's also a huge fan, and read all the comics, watched theory videos, and would dissect the post-credit scenes themselves, so you know this is a really big deal for her too. And two, she caught Easter eggs that we all missed.
Something so simple is when I talk, if you watch my hands, every time I talk and move my hands, my nail color changes.
What? God! And after losing it over that little detail that I missed, number 3, I learned how, like Agatha to Wanda, there may be a witch or sorcerer that could sense Zelma's inquisitiveness or just meddling with different forms of magic. When I asked if she's nervous of Zelma going down the wrong path, she mentioned this.
I think there's a world too where if she has these mind maggots in my head, I hope there's a world that other magic users would feel, hey, something's being dabbled with that shouldn't be dabbled with. Let's come over there and try to stop that. You know what I mean?
This speaks to the real, if this is true, what else is true sentiment, particularly that I'm talking about in the context of Marvel's magic users. If someone can sense Wanda, like Agatha, who's adept at detecting magic in her surroundings, then who else might be able to detect Zelma's interference with the magic that isn't specifically tailored to her? A reminder that Zelma's magic is a little bit of everything. Her mom's from Carmitage, natural witchcraft that she learned from baby witches on TikTok and old books. She's a hodgepodge of spells that surely will awaken someone or something.
I think that she does have this merge of magic, of like almost like just all the resources you can find. It's like if you're learning something and you're on Google, like yeah, you can get like a .org and it's like an actual history thing, but you can also get Wikipedia where somebody just filled in the blank where you're like, oh, that would work. Okay, let me try that. You know, which makes
Y'all just fucking. What y'all doing?
things a little crazy sometimes.
And this is where Doctor Strange or someone like Wong would come into play if they learn that someone is using the mystic arts in unorthodox ways. This is basically what happened with Donna Blaze in She-Hulk. There's been some discussion following Reagan's interview with Digital Spy, which suggests that Zelma has already met Doctor Strange, but she clarified in our interview this.
I think for me that statement just comes from knowing the comics. You know? And obviously you can see that in the actual like MCU, things kind of can change, but if we go comic accurate, then her having those mind maggots in that drawer and saying that comment of like, whew, girl, like, don't mess with those. Once they're in there, it's a little crazy.
Oh my
that's
God.
showing that she got them out somehow, you know? And even to me, I played off you ever heard of Doctor Strange as like, guys, like, that's the homie.
So even though it's not fully solidified whether she has or hasn't met Doctor Strange in the MCU, I think a bridge could be made easily to establish she's already been aware of him, seeing as everyone in the MCU really knows who Doctor Strange is, but also through the mind maggots. Shanaka Hawk's the head writer for Ironheart and the showrunner, who Reagan gave a lot of credit to when building this whole world around Zelma, how she got here and what we see on the screen. In an interview with Marvel, she mentioned Zelma, is from the Bronx and publishing. So our backstory is that she spent some time in the Bronx but ended up back in Chicago. We love creating a couple of different outposts in the MCU where magic might take place. So whether they left Carmitage and wound up in the Bronx, then in Chicago, or Zelma inevitably just spent some time there, still this sheds a light on a connection to Doctor Strange or the Sanctum Sanctorum. And this could further explain the mind maggots and her seeking out Strange or someone at the Sanctum Sanctorum for help to get it out of her head. However, as we've all been speaking about it, this character Zelma and the idea of finding supreme-like magic for Parker Robbins might point us in the idea behind Strange Academy, to which Reagan and I would personally thoroughly enjoy. You got the post-credits. As someone that's also a nerd, you got the post-credits.
I was so confused. I was so confused. I was like, me? I'm getting it? And then there was a level of like confusion, excitement, confusion again, and then being like, oh, I hope I don't make people mad. I hope they're not like, we needed something more. But I'm like, guys, it was cool because like Strange Academy, I think people forget how much comic book lovers, even non-comic book lovers, love magic. Just magic. And one of the biggest franchises you see is like, you know, Harry Potter. And I know there's so many people itching and scratching for something new that is like, especially young kids doing magic. And I'm like, that market is so open for something new and something that people can wholeheartedly support without feeling guilty, with just feeling like, oh, these are new people, new characters created by cool people. You know, I think that it's like, it could be really dope.
Strange Academy, for those who don't know, operates like a blend of Marvel's Hogwarts, but also Xavier's School. While it still may evoke the essence of Hogwarts, the X-Men franchise often delves into moments of romance, and I would argue that Strange Academy does that as well, more to a degree than Hogwarts did. The story is like from the perspective of teenagers, and explores the whims and challenges of youth, all while showcasing characters with too much powerful magical abilities. The fun aspect of Strange Academy is really its campiness. It allows readers to step away from the existential crises that often plague the Marvel universe universe, giving us a moment to just experience what it's like to be as normal as possible. The students attend classes taught by like Agatha Harkness or Zelma and Brother Voodoo. There are even events like Parent Day, which raise interesting questions like what would it be like if your parents were Dormammu or Loki? Would they even show up? How does having such powerful parents affect their child during a crucial period in their adolescence? This series examines dramas that haven't been really explored since X-Men, and all while maintaining that whimsical and magical atmosphere similar to Harry Potter. With Marvel delving into the Mutant Saga, I think we might see the X-School emerge there, which would add to a mix of a long list of schools that we already have in the MCU. But Strange Academy, in my opinion, is a bit different. It feels like it'll have a stronger link to Kamar-Taj instead of being its own institution like we see in the comics. However, I think it will set itself apart from Kamar-Taj by resembling like an honors program or an independent study for students in the US rather than in Nepal. The focus would seem to be more on smaller groups or advanced students working closely with the professor on specialized topics that extend beyond what is usually taught at Kamar-Taj. That's how I see it being played in the MCU. In our interview, I actually argued that I believe that Zelma is too skilled for Kamar-Taj. In a world of Strange, Wong, and Dormammu, while Zelma may not be at the very top, she is certainly more proficient than many of the students that we've seen at Kamar-Taj. And what she really needs instead is stability and structure to help her grow. Having possibly already met Dr. Strange, she may have outgrown that traditional teacher-student relationship and is ready for a more collaborative role. We also spoke about her post-credit scene with Parker Robbins leaving the door open for more magical Chicago shenanigans, but also trying to recognize their future if there even is one. Given Zelma's connection with magic and her meeting with Parker Robbins in the post-credit scene, how do you see that relationship even evolving? Do you think that Zelma might have other plans for Parker too, or perhaps a unique perspective on dealing with someone like Parker Robbins?
I'll be real, I'm like, bro, I'm scared for you. Don't do nothing crazy. I've seen a lot of people comment, like, who's the hero in this? Like, and I'm like, she doesn't know. You know, she never actually, like, met that man and really understood, like, you know, who he was. They are doing this the same way that every other Marvel person has, you know what I mean? Like, it's like Doctor Strange is a prime example of like, that man didn't care to heal, that man didn't care to help, he was trying to help himself, you know? He didn't want to learn about the magic and the cost of it and this. He was like, I want to heal my hands. That is all. I don't care. He was arrogant and had a big ego, but that changed when he was back like this, you know what I mean? And it's always been but I think that she would, in my head, realize again how she realized with Riri and like being like, hey, this is dark. This is like deep, you know? That she would realize that feeling with Parker of being like, whoa, wait, I think that I'm messing with something that I shouldn't be messing with, you know?
And I appreciate the approach that Parker is still human, even though I really don't like him. But it's deeply human, especially in the MCU, to chase magic for selfish reasons, only later to discover its true cost. July is the hottest month of the year. By the end of the day, you're tired and exhausted and just want to get the best rest from the short summer nights you can. And that's why you should get a Helix mattress. Helix has something for everybody. They offer 20 unique mattresses, including the award-winning Luxe and Ultra Premium Elite collections, Helix Plus for big and tall sleepers, and the Helix Kid mattresses. Finding your perfect mattress is so easy thanks to the Helix's sleep quiz. Just answer a few questions and you'll get a mattress that's perfect firmness and temperature for you. Everybody here at New Rockstars has a Helix mattress, and we love it. It's one of the perks of working with Helix for years. Before Helix, it would take me forever to fall asleep, and I never really wake up feeling that rested. Plus, my body was in so much pain. Now I fall asleep so fast, and I wake up feeling great every single day. I've been looking for a medium-firm mattress with lumbar support that sleeps cool, and I got matched with the Dusty Luxe Helix mattress, and I've had it for years now, and I'm never going back. Helix delivers right to your door with free shipping in the US, and the mattress comes rolled up in a box and is super easy to set up yourself. Plus, Helix has a 100-night sleep trial, so you can make sure you love your mattress. I love my Helix, I think you would too. From now until the end of July, you can take advantage of the Helix's 4th of July exclusive partner offer. You'll get 27% off site-wide. Just click the link in the description below to get started, and thanks again for Helix for sponsoring this video. And that's the thing, I appreciate the approach that Parker is still human, despite, you know, my complete dislike of him. But it's deeply human, especially in the MCU, to chase magic for selfish reasons, only later to discover its true cost. That theme runs through so many characters in the MCU, right? Parker Robbins might be manipulative, even dangerous, but he's still human, someone searching for help in his own warped, desperate way. And he's not alone. Dr. Strange sought out the mystic arts to cure his own broken hands before becoming what we see of him today. Riri Williams, brilliant as she is, initially chased his tech not for justice, but for survival, building and improving her suit to escape and afford a better life, even if that means following money trails of crime. Zelma too suffers from that very human flaw that the others suffer from as well, the need to be seen. She's self-taught, overlooked, and eager to prove she's more than some baby witch learning from TikTok. So when anyone comes for her help, she says yes, even if that someone is Parker Robbins, and even if that person is dangerous. Are you nervous that Zelma Stanton is gonna go?
You know, I definitely am a little nervous. A little bit, you know, but I do think that my girl gonna come out on top. I hope, I pray, girl, don't do it, don't do it.
Don't do it! Free me from this chain!
Free her! But yeah, I'm nervous and then also not because she has her mother. She has all of these people, you know, the strangers of the world to be like the checks and balances, hopefully. But I think she's just so eager to do magic and to have somebody come to her for the first time, like, and I think she has that childlike excitement of like, you know, she didn't go to, you know, to these magic schools and, you know, all of this she's learning on her own. So like for somebody to come up to her and want her help when she's self-taught, it probably feels validating, but I think that validation will wear off to be like, beware. This is not right.
There's this kind of hole or gap in Zelma's self-worth that gets temporarily filled by being needed. And Reagan made it clear in our conversation that Parker and Riri are two of the first people to come to Zelma for help to give her expertise. And that's super powerful. But that's also very dangerous because she's willing to do a lot just to show that she can do it. What I think is kind of tragic but interesting about Zelma's character is that even as she warns others, she knows there's a cost. She repeats it again and again. Magic comes at a cost. So if that's true, what did it cost Zelma, who practices a hodgepodge of magic? How could that affect others? How could that affect her family? It sounds like she is vulnerable about being a kind of. I don't want to call her a baby witch because she's very proficient. She's just self-taught, and there's that validation that she kind of seeks in being self-taught.
It's even down to the whole thing of like each time they ask her like how sure she is and the percent changes. That's somebody that just is like I'm trying so hard and I want to do this. So it's like yeah, 75%. Actually, it's 42%. You know, it's. I just want to be taken seriously and I want to do this magic and I want to prove that I can. You know. And honestly, like you know, it was at a cost.
Why did you clear the jungle?
She did help. Like she did. She was there. Like she did what she needed to do. She told her it was a cost, and I'm so sorry about the cost.
And I love how many times you mention like magic comes at a cost. And I'm like, but you're practicing magic 24/7. What did you lose?
And that I think even ties to Strange Academy of like Emily Bright and like all of these like other kids are doing all this magic out of school, and even them they're curious about well then what is the cost of this? What are we losing? What is it? You know? So it still is a thing of like even for her. There's a cost. And maybe we'll explore that cost when it comes down to Parker and you'll see what it is. But even for her, there's a cost. There's a cost to magic as a whole.
In the context of Zelma Stanton possibly having lost something valuable in exchange for magic before meeting Parker Robbins, I wondered if that could refer to another parent or someone just as close. In episode 4, Madeline comments that Carmitage was not an ideal place to raise a baby, to which Zelma replies like this.
I still think you guys could raise me there.
This suggests that there may have been another person involved, perhaps a parent or a guardian or a partner of Madeline's, or just someone who agreed to pull Zelma and Madeline away from Carmitage. In response, Reagan said she focused more on what was in front of her, especially making sure her chemistry with Madeline on screen was a natural bond. But she does believe that there's a world where they can expand upon that idea. Shanaka Hodge mentions in the Marvel interview with Zelma and Miss Stanton, I could see spin-offs, I could see other movies, I could see people not needing to go all the way to Madripoor to understand some magic. We wanted to create some doors and openings in the MCU for people like us to fall in. And I believe in that. There's potential for us to explore what Zelma had to sacrifice, or will sacrifice, having now been given the chance to work with Parker Robbins, or just from dancing in the world of magic as long as she has. We're still learning, and even she might not know the cost yet. It's also important to note that Hodge, the head writer and the showrunner, referred to Zelma and Madeline as the individuals you could turn to for understanding magic rather than having to travel all the way to Madripoor. This means that even Ghost Agatha and Billy, if they're lost or just confused, they just need to catch a bus to Chicago to read some old books. This is kind of a massive staple for magic within the MCU. We have our own people in America, they're just in Chicago. You just gotta go check them out. To round out our interview, of course, Reagan had a lot of funny behind-the-scenes excerpts that I would be a fool told not to share because this girl is funny as hell. How much practicality did they use when using your magic? Because the goo that you put on her chest plate, I was like, oh, there's a lot of stuff here that I just wanted to understand, like, what was maybe like the challenging parts for you to shoot on set for your character?
Let me talk about this goo. Let me talk about this goo. There's a moment where I take the goo, I throw it, we look at it, right? I had to take the goo and throw it in real life. Now the thing about me is I'm an actor for a reason. Reason being is don't have me throw a baseball. Don't have me throw anything like that. There were so many times where they were like, here we go, let's do that one more time. I would take that goo and I'd be like, and they were like, bro, throw the goo.
Reagan, playing with these people's time, Reagan.
They were like, no, it has to land, so I need you to actually look like you can throw. And so we had to practice me throwing goo at the wall because each time it would just look so like. And I've had this problem before because I just be doing stuff sometimes. Like I did a movie one time and I had to run for my life, and while I was running like. And they were like, bro, can you lock in? I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought I was running right. Like they're like, run straight, and I'm like.
Reagan.
Our writer came down, she was like, listen, I need you to throw your hand all the way back, and I need you to throw it. And I was like, okay, let me lock in. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm playing with y'all time for real. They built out most of these sets. I mean, we built a full White Castle, you know, which is insane. That's not real.
That makes sense now, because I saw the mural and I was like, oh, this is a mural in Atlanta. But then I was like, this is a full. They built the White Castle?
Yeah, I got a lot of friends in Atlanta and they were texting me like, yo, White Castle's coming to Atlanta, we all gotta go, let's go. I was like, guys, no,
Spoilers.
and I'm on the set, you know? I think the only thing that I was in a different room for is that there's a moment where you see me on the ceiling working on something, and so for that it was like, you know, they have to like get the full like film this room and have this like big wall that like shows this 360, and then every day we would get into this like if we had a new outfit we would get into this room that has like 400 cameras flashing all around you, and it's like you have to stand there and like they have to get like your full like body scan just in case they have to CGI stuff. And I know there was a lot of things like being looked at of like, okay, if I'm gonna be on the ceiling, am I working really fast, or am I like just working at a normal speed? So it's like they have the capabilities to CGI anything, but that was just me in a different like white room, and it was all still laid out on the ground of like fully drawn on, and all my books there and everything, and they just flipped the world.
And of course we spoke on Mephisto a bit, all how Mephisto makes so much sense being revealed in Ironheart.
Marvel thinks of everything. They think of all the Easter eggs. They think of all the like the little moments that people will scream about. I mean, as a fan, there was so much that I didn't read in the script because I still wanted to watch it as a fan. And so, trust me, when I saw Riri, Mephisto at that table, and that look through the spoon, I think it is, or is it the cup? Or the spoon?
It was the spoon, the little red face, bright eyes.
The way I stopped it and started screaming, I was like, there's no way. There's no way. That was perfect. A lot of people have asked me, like, or have said, like, why Ironheart? Like, there's so many ways you could have brought in Mephisto and this and this. And I think, and I'm like, with everything that we know about Mephisto, aka the devil, you know what I mean? It's to prey on that innocence and that wide eye. I just, you know, am so badly longing for this, and this. Why would he go for a Doctor Strange, a this and blah blah blah, who are so far in their life, we've seen so much? I'm like, Ironheart to me makes so much sense because it's somebody that has these capabilities, these talents, these, you know, this mind that can change and do so much in the future, but there's still something that you want. And I can be the person to get in on the ground level and give you what you want if you work for me.
And that was it for my interview with Ray and Aaliyah. I know that we'll probably post the full interview unedited probably somewhere for you guys to go to, but like for now, this is what you get. I learned a great deal about Zombiestan and her thought process, and as well as Reagan's. It became clear to me that Marvel isn't afraid to hire super fans. You can catch Reagan and Aaliyah in the final episodes of Ironheart. If you haven't already, do yourself a favor and open up Netflix right now. Watch Exo Kitty, one of my favorite spin-offs. I genuinely really love this show, and you can find find Reagan there as well. Comment down below your thoughts on Zelma Stanton, the Mystic Arts, Doctor Strange, and where are girls going with Parker Robbins now? Also, do you want a Strange Academy? And a special thanks to all of our YouTube members, Sin City Monsters, supports us at the executive producer level. Follow me at Leo_Clemens, subscribe to all channels in the New Rockstars Network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Still got dropped. Damn.
Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm gonna show ya the dangers of purchasing the new shiny thing, the thing that everyone's after, the thing that just spiked in price. We're gonna look back in time. We're gonna travel back in time with my Pokemon brain. That's what it's turned to. It's just Pokemon mush at this point in time. I've been around way too long. I've seen way too many things. I've seen too many things that look exactly like the things we've seen before. I had a couple people on the videos recently. They're like, Rattle, are you new to the hobby? No, I'm not. I've seen this before. I'm here to tell you. Now, I've mentioned a lot of this stuff in previous videos, but we're going to go through with some real examples. If you don't take anything else away from this video, focus your purchases. If you want good value, if you want to make sure you're avoiding a retrace on the things that people aren't paying attention to, on the things that didn't just currently spike in price, on the things that aren't the new thing that everyone wants at the same time. I know it's hard, it's human psychology, etc. Alright, Pokemon Evolutions. Let's take a look at that. First, we had the Charizard, yes, the base set Charizard. For anyone that wasn't around for it, Evolutions was printed and printed and printed and printed and included in every product to the point that no one wanted it. I know, hard to believe at this point in time. Evolutions is so expensive. It's so cool. Yeah, well, guess what? For an entire generation after XY, all the way through Sun and Moon, it was in basically every mixed pack product that you could ever imagine. Even into the Sword and Shield, we were seeing a little dabble. We had some Kanto power boxes and the like. This Charizard on the screen here, yes, the base set one that was reprinted. It was like $7 at one point in time. No one wanted it when it was $7, but they wanted it during the pandemic. When it got up over, it was like, it shows 122 here. There is going to be some data missing. You can go back if you care to do so. This thing was very expensive during the pandemic. It wasn't very expensive when it came out. Well, it would have been expensive when it came out, and then it would have dropped down after people were sick and tired of Evolutions. Does it remind you of 151? Because it should. It's one of those things where it's like base set, low barrier to entry. A lot of the people that are temporarily interested. Now, some people that will continue on, will get into other stuff, will collect over a long period of time. That might be their entry point, but for the most part, it's like the basic set, the 151, the first 151 Pokemon. You don't have to learn anything else. You don't want to know what's going on. Pandemic Pikachu from Jungle. This is a common. It got very expensive. I think they were over $100 at one point in time during the pandemic, just for a raw near mint copy, first edition Jungle Pikachu. The problem with that, the same reason the base set Unlimited is still very inexpensive, there was a ton of it. That's the thing. When it's popular, when the new thing is popular, back then when you got Pikachus left and right out of your Jungle packs, they exist. The same way Base Unlimited exists. This thing's sunk back down in under $10. Not surprised. This was kind of like the pandemic was a little bit different than what we're experiencing now, because it was mostly vintage that popped, that was popping off. Everyone needed it. It did move its way into modern and everything else, kind of all tides. Chips, the rising, something along those lines. So, be careful. the amount of cards that got sent for grading because everyone was new and everyone thought, hey, if it's graded, it's worth more money. And then the amount of cards that got just left at grading because it wasn't worth paying the fees. It took too long for stuff to come back. All the lower condition stuff that should have never been graded at any point. Noob mistake number one, grading without a reason for grading without knowing what you're doing is just probably one of the most detrimental things that you can do, other than purchasing something when it's clearly at a high that it shouldn't be at. So be careful with all of that. If you're new, please help your new friends. If there's new people that are getting into the hobby, steer them in the right direction. Doesn't have to be graded. Don't fall into that trap. If you're grading it, if you know what you're looking at, and then also avoid during the pandemic, during now, when there's a high, when there's a backlog of graded stuff to be graded, and it takes too long, you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to use one of the main companies. I'll go with XYZ LMNOP grading out of that guy's garage. That'll add value. It's a great